The NBA All-Star Game format has completely changed and has turned into a tournament that nobody asked for and nobody wants. If you weren't aware, the NBA All-Star Game, or rather tournament, has been restructured in efforts to make it more interesting for both the players and the viewers. The 24 All-Stars will be divided into 3 different teams, and each of these teams will be handpicked by Shaq, Kenny, and Charles, and the 4th team being the winners of the Rising Stars Challenge. If you're already confused, you're not alone, don't worry.
It's a complete crap.
In the first round, we'll have 2 All-Star teams face off with one another, while the 3rd team faces those winners of the Rising All-Star Challenge, and then the winner of those games will face off in the championship. This whole new structure seems a bit gimmicky, because it begs the question, how many championships are we going to have each year? We have the Emirates Cup Championship, the NBA Finals Championship, and now we have the All-Star Championship?
What?
You can't have 3 different championships in a single season and expect people to care about any of them. Drink your water. This is quite honestly one of the most odd decisions I've seen in modern sports. It really seems like they're trying to use a band-aid to fix a broken bone. Adam Silver and the decision makers in the NBA cannot be missing the plot anymore. We just want players to play hard and care about the game. Is that really too much to ask? And if we're being honest, the NBA All-Star Game has not been the same since Kobe Bryant retired. And while this is not a video that's going to be focused around talking about whether or not this new generation is lazy, there's no denying the level of competitiveness in the All-Star Game now versus then.
Kobe's making this personal.
LeBron himself wants to be considered an assassin like Kobe and Michael, but the reality is his desire to be liked by his peers outpaces his ability to make them fear him. It's because of this exactly he can't conjure up the same competitive spirit in everyone that MJ and Kobe could. Why not put a clause in all their contracts that if they don't achieve a certain viewer rating during the All-Star Game, a certain percentage of their pay is docked and given to charity?
What?
I think that would be a win-win for everyone. They're not going to want to lose money just because they didn't try hard one night, and if they do, charity wins. Almost every one of my channel's viewers is not subscribed to the channel. Do me a huge favor and hit that subscription button. We're trying to get monetized. My dog and I. There used to be a time where players cared about being better than one another. They cared about the hierarchy of the NBA. And to be honest, they cared about that hierarchy just as much as they did that number on a contract. And that is what makes good basketball. People that care about the game more than money itself. When money is the only motive, people will only work just hard enough to make that money, but not hard enough to push the game forward, to help it evolve. You can already see it in Victor Wembanyama. He has the raw talent and size to be arguably the greatest athlete in all of sports history. If he can take the time to learn footwork, the art of all the angles, and everything else that's involved in helping players become some of the greatest of all time. And if you put that all together in his body, he's going to be the most unstoppable player again in potentially sports history. But if all he does is run up the court and shoot threes, none of that will matter. As humans evolve and we become even more physically freakish, what good are those strides? What good is that evolving if you're not going to use it to take the sport, to take everything you're doing even further? Imagine being an NFL player who makes a fraction of the guaranteed money basketball players do and exponentially putting yourself in more danger, and then hearing these NBA players saying they could come into your sport and dominate. NBA players are scared to play a full season, while NFL players risk being paralyzed every time they step on the field. And you'd think current NBA players would be embarrassed at some level, whether it's with the fans or the veterans of the sport, that they're being treated like toddlers. It almost feels like we're giving candy to a baby to make them do something. This all comes at a time when NBA players are making record-breaking contracts and enjoying some of the greatest lifestyles in human history, while the rest of the country and the world struggle paycheck to paycheck. Only a few people have said this, but a huge reason the NBA could be losing viewership is that the amount of people who can actually relate to the NBA players is dwindling day by day. Now more than ever, people are being required to work numerous jobs with side hustles just to make ends meet, giving them little time to rest. And when they do get a chance to rest and tune into the NBA, and they see their team's star player resting that night for whatever reason, that connection is going to be lost. Especially when you can just go over and look at the NFL and see that their players are dodging concussion and injury protocols. They're breaking rules left and right just to play because they're so obsessed with playing. It's no wonder the NFL is seeing record-breaking viewership while the NBA is seeing an honest 50% decline. The players run the league in the NBA. The teams run the league in the NFL. You can argue all you want which is better, but right now we're seeing what happens when the players run the league versus when the owners run the league. The history of the All-Star Game speaks for itself, especially when you consider where it is now versus where it was before. Let's see us drink your water. The combination of uncontested drives to the basket, the barrage of threes, it's just created some of the most uninteresting basketball on TV. If the fans are going to watch the players not take the league seriously, why are they going to take the league seriously? The 2023 All-Star Game drew record low ratings at 4.5 million viewers, and that speaks for itself. Which begs another question. If the league needs saving, can the opportunity for another Magic vs. Bird even present itself? If 90% of the league stars aren't putting forth maximum effort into a single game once a year? Are those the types of players who are really going to create rivalries or narratives that are going to bring interest and draw bigger crowds? If NBA players show that at their level they don't care to compete against one another, are we really going to buy into their rivalries? If you require a bunch of bells and whistles and hyper editing to get eyes on your product, you might want to focus on simply bettering your product. If the basketball game is entertaining, we're going to watch. Alright, that's enough yapping for today. And if you enjoyed this video, think about watching either of these videos that's on the screen. As always, hit that sub button and turn on notifications. Go out there and do something great.